Hello and welcome to Financial Deep Dive with CWT. This is now the fifth episode of this podcast and the second video now on YouTube. And while it wasn't really meant to happen this way, the last episode we did was on the Robo investment app Acorns, and now this episode is on the Robo investment app Beanstox. I promised that on this podcast I will talk about things besides Robo investment apps. But the reason I wanted to make this episode is I thought it was very interesting, and it's actually it's a company that's not a publicly traded business. Like all the other companies I talked about have been ones where, anyone can go and just buy stock in right now on a stock exchange and be an investor, easily liquidate, once they've, made whatever they want to make. But this company's different. So if any of y'all watch the show Shark Tank, y'all definitely know Kevin O'Leary is. He's one of the most popular investors on the planet. And he's, kind of has a background in finance, he's on a fund before. And that's kind of what he is, he's the finance shark. And, he has a popular YouTube channel, which I'm a huge fan of. And I'm actually a huge fan of Kevin O'Leary himself. So when I was, looking at different startups to invest in, because if you've been reading financebycwt.com, which is my personal website, you know that I am very much into private equity, and I want to start doing more in that space. I made a lot of blog posts on it, but it's a riskier kind of investment, but it's one that can pay off in so much further dividends that, it's just amazing. But anyway, so I'm a huge fan of Kevin O'Leary, and when I was out there looking for private equity to invest in, I ran into a company that he actually own a large part of. He's a co-founder of the company, and the company is called Beanstox. And what it does is, let's say I signed up for Beanstox. I would download the app, and I would put money into it, and then Beanstox would invest my money for me into a collection of different, ETFs, and it'd be very, long-term investment strategy. So basically, let's say, someone's watching this, and, they don't know how to invest. They know that they should invest, but they don't know how to invest. They could just download Beanstox, have them invest their money for them, and, get a return from that. And, that's kind of what Beanstox does. They're not the only company that does this. Acorns is also robo investing. SoFi, which I've always been a big fan of, does some robo investing. As a very small part of what they do. They also do regular investing, crypto investing, all that stuff, but they also do robo investing. But, they do have a lot of competition. Then when I saw it, and I saw that it was Kevin O'Leary who was co-founding it and funding a large part of it, so I knew that I really wanted to invest into it. I'm the chance to own part of a company that one of my favorite investors is in. This is an amazing opportunity. I would love to invest in this. So I started researching the company further, and unfortunately, after doing that, not only did I not invest, but I actually, I do not feel confident about the future of this company at all. So I wanted to make this podcast episode to kind of give my thoughts on it, see what other people thought, and yeah, I just thought it'd be a fun thing to talk about. So basically, I also wrote a blog post about this as well. It's on financebycwt.com, which in my opinion is the greatest website in the world, so you should go to it. But, I wrote a blog post on that. And I kind of gave three different reasons that I just don't think that this company is going to work. And, one of them being that it's just too much money. Think about it like this, right? It's $5 a month, which you might be thinking that's ridiculous, call that too much money. $5 is nothing. But it actually is, because think about who would use, a robo investment app. Think about who's using it, right? It's going to be two different kinds of people. One, people that just want a way to passively invest, some of their money. Let's say they have a huge, stock portfolio, a robo investment app would just be a very small part of it, but it's just a way to passively invest some money without having to worry about it. I have a robo investment app, I'm with Acorns, and, that's where I put a very, small percentage of my actual, investments, but it's just a nice way to, invest some money and have it actually compound over time without worrying about it at all. That's kind of why I use it. And that's one of the people that would use Beanstox as well. But the other group are people that, just don't know how to invest. They're sitting there and they know they should invest, They have no idea how to. So they're like, oh, Robo investment app, that'll let me invest my money without having to learn how to actually do it. And, I feel like a lot of that group would be people that are accessing in like a very small amount of capital. Like, let's say, they're only putting like, $50 a week into it, or like $100 a week into it. And if you're just putting $100 every week into Beanstox and they're taking $5 every month, then the actual like the management fee is a huge percentage. Like most like money management services, like if you gave them, money, they take 2% of it and then, like 20% of the actual like returns as well. But, with a low amount of capital, like $100, and they're taking 5% of that, that's kind of like they're taking like $5 of it. I mean, that's kind of significant. And it's kind of like huge when you think about it that way. But yeah, so that's one reason that I think that Beanstox as a company just won't work. I think most people are not willing to just, give them $5. Like, think about it if you're someone who wants to invest, right? And you kind of have a choice. You're like, I can either give, $5 to Beanstox, have them invest my money, or just download SoFi, put all my money into S&P 500 index fund, and pay, like 0.06% for like the actual ETF expense ratio. And, if that's your choice, is 0.06% or $5, you're going to go 0.06% like every single time. And that's why, that's one of the reasons I just don't think Beanstox can work. I feel like most people are going to do that. Or even if they don't do that, like let's say they really want the Robo investor. Instead of Beanstox at $5 a month, maybe they'll do Acorns at $3 a month, when Acorns is also a lot bigger itself too and has other features like, roundups and all that stuff attached to it. I don't really see Beanstox able to survive that competition. Another thing is, like, it is expensive to run Beanstox. The company is spending like quite a bit of money, like their operating expenses are pretty high, and that's why they're doing so many rounds of funding. Like right now they're doing one. They were doing one a while ago before that. And so they keep having to actually do rounds of funding because they need so much cash to operate. Which is fine, like if they had huge operating expenses, but also like gaining users quite a bit, then eventually get to the point where they have enough users where the operating expenses doesn't even matter anymore. It's able to pay for everything. But the problem is, and that's the main reason that I decided not to invest in Beanstox, and in a way told Kevin O'Leary that I'm out, was that they're just not gaining users. And I don't have the actual like data pulled up with me right now. I do on my blog post that I posted on financebycwc.com. But, they put on the thing, they're like, this is how many users we approved. This is how many users download the app. This is how many users were approved. And this is how many of those like approved users actually ended up joining. And it was like 1,500 people have actually joined Beanstox. And this company has been around for like over a year now. I've been seeing their ads for over a year. And their excuse is, they're like, yeah, we've done very limited marketing. But I don't really think that's true either. Because if you, like, again, I'm a huge fan of Kevin O'Leary. He's produced like so many different videos trying to get people to like download Beanstox. And the fact that like he, who has like a significant following like on YouTube, mind you, like the fact that he was a very popular investor, who a lot of people that watch it, are people that are passionate about investing. The fact that a lot of that audience has not transitioned into paying subscribers for Beanstox, I just don't see as a good sign. Like, to me, that number should be way higher than 1,500. And their excuse is we've done very limited marketing. And I just don't see how that's true. Like, I don't see how, they've done limited marketing when, personally, I've seen quite a bit of marketing from them. And again, I'm kind of their, like, target demographic. But, and this is another reason that I decided not to invest, is I've known about Beanstox, for over a year, and I have not downloaded it. And the reason is because I look at what Beanstox does, and I look at what Acorns does. Acorns cheaper, and even though I really like Kevin O'Leary, and he's like a hero of mine, it just doesn't make sense for me to download Beanstox at $5 if I can get Acorns at actually $1 because I had Acorns before they switched to $3 being the lowest higher, but $1. If I can get it for $1, why would I pay 5? It doesn't really make any sense, especially when I think that Acorns is simply a better app. I think they have more features, and I think that they do it better than Beanstox. And I hate saying that because I want Beanstox to be successful, and even now I really hope that I am wrong. But when you look at everything I just said and realize that Beanstox is trying to raise money at a $27 million valuation, how does that make any sense? Like, how can you look at that? Like, everything I just said, like, how can you look at that and be like, yeah, this company is worth $27 million. They have 15 users actually using the app and paying $5 a month. How does that equal a $27 million valuation? Like, that doesn't make any sense, especially when they've had so much trouble and are spending so much money and are doing so many rounds of funding that my worry is if I invest into it, I'll be diluted to essentially nothing. And when you look at all that, I don't know, like, when you look at all that, I don't understand how you can invest. So even though I really wanted to invest in the company because I want to add a Robo, advisor to my portfolio. Back when Acorns was going to go public, they were going to go public via SPAC. I bought a lot of shares of the company they were going to merge with. Unfortunately, they ended up not merging with them, and now I'm left with a bunch of shares of a company that I have no interest in. But after that, I really wanted to find a new Robo advisor to support because the Robo advisement business, I actually think is good. Like, I actually think that we need robo advisors out there for the people that don't really know how to invest or what to invest in so they can take advantage of investing themselves. The issue is that I don't think Beanstox is going to take any of the robo advisement market at a $5 a month fee when there's so many cheaper alternatives. Like, even SoFi has a robo advisor on there that's so much cheaper. And it's just, if you have a choice, and think about it for a second, if you could get this, if you could pay $5 for a service that you can get for $1, would you? And I wouldn't. And I don't think most people would. So I had to tell Kevin O'Leary that I was out. It doesn't work. I don't think Beanstox can succeed. I think the competition is too high. I think they're too expensive. I think they're raising money at an absolutely ridiculous valuation. And I don't get it. I feel like if Beanstox went on Shark Tank with their business, I feel like Kevin O'Leary would be roasting them for their valuation. And I don't know. It just doesn't really make any sense to me why they're doing that. Or, like, I feel like they need to drop the fee or drop it down to $1 or just have maybe like a 2% fee, like something, because I feel like that's the reason people aren't joining. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. Either subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on whatever platform you're currently listening on. And, that's all for me. Go to financebycwt.com and check out all our content. And thank you for listening.